Alright, I told you guys in another video. I've got some other stuff I'm working on, and I'll make a video about that. This is a build I'm doing. We have all these trucks, and they all belong to somebody like my son, or my other son, or my wife, or a buddy of mine, or my daughter, or the tow rig with the 30-foot scale gooseneck. Anyway, I'm finally building something for me. I'm going to build me a scale 4Runner. Big time Toyota fan. I have an 886 Corolla. That's my race car. I'm a big time, long time Toyota fan. I'm 35. I've been messing with Toyota since I was 15 years old. Big fan. So, with that, Scx10 frame. These are bomber links here in the back. I want to say they're 126 millimeter. And of course, they're swing arm design. Now on the front here, I don't know if you guys know this, 4Runners, except for the first gen, have independent front suspension. So my 4Runner is going to have independent front suspension. This is a twin hammers front suspension, and it's hard to kind of get far enough from the camera so you guys can see what's going on here. Basically, it has an aluminum plate that attaches to the front differential here, and I have a saddle strap, saddles the frame, and this plate bolts to that saddle strap. You guys can see that in there. There you go. I do have a locker for the front. I don't have it installed yet. As you can see, it's still not quite there. I don't know if I'm going to install it yet, actually. I know the rear end's going to be locked. I don't know if I want to lock the front end yet. Everything's still kind of loose. It's in a mock-up stage. So in order to make this work, you have to take the twin hammers control arms and you have to flip them. What I mean by flip them is, this is actually the driver's side. It would actually come off, rotate 180 degrees, and mount back like that there. Both sides. So they're both flipped from side to side. And the reason that's done is to push the spindle forward. And by pushing the spindle forward and turning your knuckles around backwards, the knuckles are also flipped side to side. By doing that, it allows you to bring your tie rods up front and really give you, the actual geometry of an independent front suspension vehicle. Now, some do have the rack and pinion back here, but also I needed room for suspension. So when I flipped the spindles around, what it did is it made me have to make an offset upper control arm for both sides. And those are SSD end links and threaded stainless rod. Basically, just tying, it's just an upper control arm. It's all it does. There's no real structural integrity to it whatsoever. It just keeps the hub up and down. So by going offset with that, as you can see, they rake backwards on both sides. It gave me room for the shocks. Now the shocks aren't at a straight up and down angle. They're actually leaned back probably 15 degrees for proper suspension movement. But as I get this thing built, I'll keep up, more on this video. As far as the drivetrain, I don't know yet if I'm going to run a traditional Scx10 center skid with Scx10 motor and trans mounted, or if I'm going to do like we have our puller truck, which is in pieces. Let's see if I can get it over here and kind of explain what's going on with this thing. You see the axle just fell out of it. Anyway, say like a RC4 drive style 5-to-1 planetary overdrive, 55 turn, divorce transfer case mounts in the center, and as you can see, it splits front and rear. This basically has a drive ratio of 11-to-1, I think is the final drive ratio. This is the truck we pull our gooseneck with, so it's built for extreme torque pulling. So I'm thinking about doing the same with this thing to keep the geometry kind of 1-to-1. And by doing that, if I run, say, 27 or 35 turn front mounted engine and run just a 3-to-1 gear reducer or planetary trans to a divorce transfer case, which is a 2-to-1, I think I can get away with that. And I think the weight bias will be better. Doesn't leave me a lot of place to mount a battery, except for in the back. I don't like to have any weight back here whatsoever when I can help it. just for geometry's sake. You'll notice these little rods here that tie to the back of the twin hammer's lower skid plate. So you've got the front mount, you've got the saddle. These rods basically tie everything together. Now the differential can't move. It can't go up or down. It can't go forward or back. It is now a solid front independent suspension now attached to an Scx10 frame. I do have another differential over here, which I've already had apart. The biggest hurdle I think I'm going to come up with is the drive shaft, because these don't have holes through them. There's not a lot of gearing options for the twin hammers. Now, I do know that I've done gear calculations. I've looked up online for both Scx10, which we all know is like a 3.17, 3.707 Scx10 one axles, the differential ratio. It's like 3.17 or 3.07. Anyway, just over 3 turns. The good thing about the twin hammers front differential, it's a 2.89. So you basically are going to have an overdriven front axle by just using the twin hammers front end and a stock Scx10 rear end. So that's going to be an advantage. Another advantage I found is steering angle. This is nuts. I don't know if you can tell on camera, that's a pretty wicked steering angle for an Scx10. And the fact that I still have full suspension movement at that angle is what's going to be really awesome to see how this thing performs both on the rocks and running outright. So that's another hurdle I'm having to deal with right now, is if I run the scale style engine and trans with the 3-to-1 planetary and the divorce transfer case, I'm kind of stuck at a crawler's pace when it comes to this thing. I want to build this like a pre-runner, or like a, not quite a trophy truck, just a pre-runner style, slightly lower, long swing arm suspension, long travel type build. So I'm looking into also a 2-speed transfer case, to where I could possibly have the crawlability for when I want to do that, and I can also flip that thing over and actually get some speed with this thing and use it as a pre-runner style. I don't know if I'm going to use the Proline Hilux body yet, or if I'm going to use the Proline 4Runner body yet. It will definitely be a Toyota body. It's definitely going to be a Toyota truck. Wheels to come soon. I haven't made any of that yet. The progress is there. It's slow. I've got a lot of other stuff going on right now. My E46 BMW, doing a clutch job in that. My bagged S10 truck, I got some stuff going on with it. I'm having to daily it right now while I work on the Beamer. So, got a lot of other real world shit going on. So, you'll see a video on this thing again soon. I just got to come up with a plan as far as what I'm going to do driveline wise with it, and I'll continue with that. Thanks for the subs, guys.